Good evening, student leaders. We're going to begin the program today. I want to start off with some remarks from the Board of Education President, Carla Silvestri.
Good evening, everyone. Buenas noches. It's so good to see so many student leaders here gathered tonight on this very cold week before winter break night. So thank you so much for joining us. Those of you that don't know me, I'm Carla Silvestri. I'm the president of the Board of Education. And it's my pleasure to introduce to you today some of my colleagues who are here today. So I'm going to ask them to stand and introduce themselves. You'll hear from Sammy, of course. Is Vice President Lynn Harris here? Let's give her a round of applause. Shebra Evans. Grace Rivera Oven. Rebecca Smodrowski, I think she wasn't going to make it tonight. Brenda Wolf, not going to make it tonight. Okay. Am I missing anyone? All right. I would also, Dr. McKnight, you'll be hearing from her immediately after me. But before we get to that, I do want to acknowledge that tonight we have the pleasure of speaking with student leaders from across the county who represent many, many different groups, and I'm going to name them here tonight. So let's give them a round of applause after I call out the list. Minority Scholars Program. MoCo Empower Her. MoCo Pride Youth. Montgomery County Junior Council. Montgomery County Regional Student Government Association. SMOB Advisory Council. And the Superintendent's Leadership Academy. It's great to be here in person with all of you to have meaningful discussions and hear from you, the experts, about the issues that are important to you and the way that we together can improve our wonderful school system. We're going to do this through small group discussions, and while the student leaders will introduce themselves in their groups, I do want to give them a warm round of applause and thank them for their hard work in planning this meeting. Thank you, student leaders. Tonight we're going to discuss very important topics, including equity in education, mental health and school safety, school communication practices and curriculum, including arts, athletics, and extracurricular activities. I want to commend you all for being here, and I want to be clear that we, as the Board of Education, see you and want you to succeed. You are our top priority. This is why we get into this work, and it's very important work. So again, thank you for making the time to come together in this wonderfully full room, for working hard to make our schools even better, and for the respect for candor that I know that each of you will exemplify. We look forward to our continued collaboration with each of you and remind you to please reach out to us with any further concerns that you might have, so that together we can continue to provide the best education for all MCPS students. Now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Monifa McKnight.
All right, good evening, everybody. Good evening. Students, how you feeling? Good. Good? All right, this is your last week before winter break. Staff, how you doing? All right. So just wanted to do a quick energy check in the room and to say I'm so grateful that you all are here. Thank you, Madam President, for outlining the evening for us, and to our student member of the board, Sammy, for just pulling this whole event together. I did want to ask students, how many of you were at the budget release last Thursday? Raise your hand if you were. Yes, I knew it. So thank you so much again for being a part of that conversation. The budget release was all about what are the resources we need for our school system, and you showed up and you were there and you were present. And I'm so grateful that you were there, because I think as often as we can center our work on your needs and the needs of the school system and center that in your voices, that's a great opportunity for our school system. And so I'm glad that we did that last Thursday, and I'm glad that we're back here tonight doing the same thing. So that's why I did that energy check, because I need for all of us to get our jolt of energy to get ready for the next 2 hours, okay? All right? Okay, all right now. I was like, we got to roll some Pepsi Colas in here or something to make sure we get everybody ready. So I just want to say that tonight, the president mentioned the 4 areas of focus that we're going to talk about, and they're all so important. And these are topics that we've heard from you over and over again that are important for the school system to dig into. So tonight, let's have those real conversations about where we are and what we need to do in each of those areas, because that's going to help us do our work better. And when I say us, that includes me and all of the staff that are sitting here with you students tonight at the tables, so that we can hear together what some of your thoughts and perspectives are on these issues, so that we can better create the services that we provide to you and the staff in MCPS. So that's something I wanted you to think about. And also want to say your presence is always important when you're in the room. As I think about this meeting every year, I get so excited about it because I meet many new students who I then see throughout the year, who come through the Superintendent's Leadership Academy, who then become a part of Minority Scholars and all these other groups that I meet with. And so I see it as an opportunity for emerging leaders to really just take a leadership role in the system. So tonight, as we sit down, be truthful in your conversations, be honest, bring ideas. As you talk about some of the things that are challenging, I feel like this session is one where we also get the best ideas from you. And I say this all the time, but at some point, you all are going to be running the school system, okay? And so to start to think now about what are the ideas to make it prepared for what it needs to be today and in the future, those are going to be the best ideas that come from you. So we look forward to hearing those thoughts and ideas from you tonight. And as I sit in here with you tonight, I think about back in the day, not too long ago, but when I was SGA advisor, and got to center myself as a staff member in MCPS years ago and work with students. It is one of the most impactful experiences that we have as adults who lead forward the work of education. So let's keep that in mind tonight. Get to know each other as you're sitting together at the tables. Students who may just be meeting each other for the first time, get to know us as staff so that we can know more about you, know who you are, so that we can remember you when we see you out at your schools and being involved in other spaces, so that we can continue to make these connections. And I just want to say that in front of me tonight, I'm seeing the future generation of all the leaders of our community in education and beyond education, and that's you. So let's start making that change tonight in these discussions that we have. And thank you for all that you do to bring about change to your schools, to our community, and to MCPS as a whole. So I look forward to those conversations. Mr. Saeed here is amazing, and I'm going to bring him back up, but I know he's going to set the stage for tonight. So let's let tonight be the start of much more conversation and community work together. Sounds good? All right, thank you so much. I look forward to hearing from you and talking with you.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Silvestre and Dr. McKnight. I just want to start with a couple acknowledgments. So can we give a round of applause to all the staff that came out tonight to help out with this? And to take time out of their busy schedules, very busy, to talk with students and hear from you all. I mean, the commitment that we have here in MCPS to hearing from all of our students, whether it be our student leaders or just anyone across MCPS, is huge, and I think this event demonstrates that here tonight. And I also want to give one more acknowledgement to Ms. Cherry for helping put all this together. Seriously, can we give her a big hand? A big hand. Seriously. She is the reason, really, that this is happening tonight, that we're continuing this tradition. And so, you know, I can't acknowledge how Ms. Cherry really is the catalyst for a lot of the student leadership that we see. And I want to give her her due credit. And, you know, to reiterate comments that were just stated, this event is huge. I mean, it is seriously important. I remember last year going to this event actually virtually, and just the opportunity that it presented me to hear directly from leaders, to ask the questions, the burning questions that I had about MCPS, and receive a direct answer. There are really not many opportunities like this, almost ever. And I know that students always have questions for me. I get it in my Instagram DMs or I get it through my text messages, but now is the time to ask those and to, like Dr. McKnight said, give ideas. I see so many great ideas. I hear it in leadership meetings with students, and now is the time to bring those fantastic ideas that I know will make a positive impact on MCPS to the administrators who have the power to implement it directly. So if you guys have an idea about any one of these topics that I will say I thought about a lot and were carefully chosen that reflect the needs of students that I heard this year in particular, if you have any ideas, any questions, feel free, like Dr. McKnight said, to be honest, to be direct, and ask those questions. And I'm sure all of you are going to learn a lot today, and I know I'm always learning too. So I'm really, really looking forward to it. Here's just a few notes for today on how it's going to work. So students, you guys are going to remain seated the entire time. The administrators are going to get up and move around. So just that is what you're going to note. So they're going to rotate each table. Board members may rotate around, so I know I'll definitely be going around. I'll be listening in on some of the conversations. And so when you get into your breakout group, the first thing you guys can do is just a few introductions, kind of icebreakers or whatever. Hey, this is me. I'm involved in this organization or that organization, just kind of break the ice a little bit. And then I know administrators can also do the same and give an update on their work. And then after that, we're going to do the Q&A. We're going to do questions, answers within the groups. So that's going to be really, really fantastic. And then each breakout session will be 25 minutes, and then we're going to be rotating after that. And I think there's going to be a brief share out, so we're going to call on a student to share, anything they talked about in their breakout room and everything like that. So I'm really, really excited. It's great to see such a diverse student leadership group here. We have a number of different organizations, student leaders. I'm seeing some familiar faces and some new ones, which I always like to see. And so, yeah, this is fantastic. So I think with that, do you want to get into it? All right. Okay.
So our topics can begin at the tables? When I do that?
Okay, so I guess we'll just get started now. Make sure to be honest, direct, and ask some good questions and give some good ideas. We'll begin now. All right. All right. I hope you all had some fantastic conversation. Did you guys have good conversation? Love it. I heard more energy than we had at the beginning, so I love it. I hope you guys shared some fantastic ideas and asked some great questions in your groups. I know that I was walking around and I heard a number of very common student, concerns and even ideas that I've heard in the past be presented. And so I think again that this was such a fantastic opportunity for students face to face with, MCPS administrators, board members, and our wonderful superintendents to share ideas and to ask those questions. So I'm so happy that we were able to do this. So we're going to get started with a share out. I'm going to get started with the table in the back right corner there.
All right, hello everyone, my name is Rabira. I'm a junior at Montgomery Borough High School. We had a lot of great discussions, but I think the one that stood out most to me was the mental health and school safety discussion that we just had. And so we talked about Bridge to Wellness. We talked about a couple of the sort of initiatives that MCPS is taking. Even though we don't see it a lot directly present in our schools, there are initiatives and ways that our county is taking efforts to actually support student wellness. Also, we talked about Narcan training and physical health, aside from just mental health. Both are very important, and I was happy to hear that we do have Narcan training that is actually supported by student ambassadors. I think it's great to see students actually teaching other students about such a very important skill that we've seen is very pressing and needed in our school buildings as of recent events. And so we also talked about the heavy investments that MCPS is taking from outside support to actually internally support our students and teachers and make sure that they feel that wellness and school support is visible in their school buildings. And I think that we're taking some pretty good steps to move forward, and I hope to hear some of our advice and conversations go forward. So thank you so much.
Okay, yeah, great stuff. I heard a lot of great things there with wellness and Narcan as well. So we're going to move over to the table over here. So name, grade, school, and then you can get right into it.
Hi everyone, I'm Mika Grazio. I'm a senior at Wing High School, and I'll just share one thing that we talked about. We talked about how school psychologists tend to only work with about 5% of students at each school, which is why not all students might have access to a school psychologist or even know that there is one. And we also talked about how the OSSWB is going to work on expanding knowledge about that, so students aren't like, who's my school psychologist, why don't I know about them? That way they kind of know what different tiered supports they can access and how frequently they can access them. Thank you.
Fantastic, and we'll move on.
Hello, my name is David. I'm an 8th grader at Cabin John Middle School. So topic 4 really stood out to our group, which was mostly about curriculum, athletics, arts, and extracurriculars. And regarding about school athletics, although there's no plans in increasing sports for middle school, extracurricular sports are chosen based on student interests, and students can also suggest and offer sports to school administrators. And these staff are also working on trying to balance out schedules to be most suitable for graduation and trying to make many tuition fees free. They prioritize what courses are very important to help the students be prepared for the next stage in school and eventually graduation, such as making sure that every information that is taught at school is relevant and up to date.
Love it. And actually, real quick on the topic of athletics, we just got pickleball in a number of our high schools. And another cool thing, raise your hand if you knew that we had an esports league here in MCPS. Okay, we got a few hands up. I did not know that, but yeah, we play Rocket League and people competitively compete and had a tournament. So we're doing a lot in the realm of athletics and being up to date and modern. So I just wanted to say that so we can move on with our next share out.
Yeah, unfortunately, I did not know that we had esports. Wow. My name is Angelina, and I'm a senior at Richard Montgomery High School. We talked a lot about topic 1, education equity, and the opportunity gap. And something we talked about within it is the usage of AI sources such as ChatGPT, etc., and the kind of equity gaps that can pose for students who have Chromebooks versus those who have like personal hotspots, like MacBooks, etc. We also talked about blocking certain websites and like ones that can be used for educational purposes, like YouTube, and how we can get potentially student committees on that to help unblock some of the websites that we find so helpful. And then one additional point that we had is kind of integrating policies about how we can use AI and how teachers can have conversations with their students about it into our student guide, like handbooks, as well as different syllabi resources that teachers can use themselves.
Hi, my name is Justin, and I'm a sophomore at Seneca Valley High School. One thing that really resonated with me throughout all of these discussions and topics was how time and resources tied into the discussions we went into today. And a lot of these topics, such as equity and the opportunity gap, included how we had staff shortages after COVID, which impacted a lot of students' experiences. Because without staff, there is no guidance. We went into how we could look into different mental programs involving the procurement and recruitment of more counselors and mental health professionals to look into students' mental health concerns and other topics related to that. I just want to mention that it's crucial to stand united in the face of a lot of these issues and problems that we are facing today, and that we must stand united. We must stand united for implementation of a lot of these solutions that we just discussed today as well. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ashley Jones. I am a 7th grader at Lakelands Park Middle School. And one thing that I think really resonated at our table was safety and kind of communications. It was kind of a mix of the two. So like when things happen at our schools and then the way that information gets sent out to like parents and students, such as like if there's like a snow day or 2-hour delay day, Remind can be like, hey, I'll send it to your phone instead of you having to check your emails. And then things like safety concerns also can sometimes be sent out a little later than wanted. And then things like, let's see, what's a good example? I'm trying to think of one. I don't got one. I don't have any good example for that. But like, it'll be a few days later, even though you know something's going on, you just don't know what it is yet. And then you can be kind of nervous and unfocused on, your schoolwork and stuff, while you're like thinking, am I safe? Am I going to be okay? Is something bad going to happen? Thank you very much.
My name is Falashade Babinu, and I am a senior at Seneca Valley High School. And one thing that really resonated with me was the fact that students are watching each other and listening to each other on a level that's just, not I'm just seeing you in school and that's it, I'm going to go home. But it's really watching and listening to each other, even when, you don't know people are listening to you. So that really stuck with me, and it was shown through our discussion. It was shown through all the recommendations, and even our most recent discussion about wanting to hear from students that are not in this room, that are not involved in advocacy, and really hearing from the entire student population so that all of MCPS is represented.
Hello, I'm Jackson. I'm a senior at Rockville High School, and one of the things we talked about that I love talking about was bridging the opportunity gap between activism and schools by bringing it to things like Canvas and even testing it with the MCR midterm apps to allow more schools to have availability to advocacy initiatives like done through MCR and things like that. Thank you.
Love it. Big thanks to our students. That was a fantastic share out, and I think we had a lot of diverse kind of viewpoints from students. And I also want to call on a couple staff members too, because I know that staff definitely learned a lot today, hopefully. So if any staff members would like to go ahead and share.
Yes, first a shameless plug for esports. If you didn't know, we have esports available at almost all of our high schools, and University of Maryland is providing full ride scholarships for esports. If you are interested, let me know. This was a fantastic opportunity this evening. I can't tell you how valuable it is. I actually have a couple specific actions that I wrote down that I'm going to be following up on as a result. First, the AI conversation that we had around technology was so powerful that I wrote in big letters in my notebook that I am going to be starting, and this is my commitment to you as the students, a Student Technology Advisory Council. That is not something that we've had, but I think it's going to be integral in hearing the voice of you and what you need. So that is my commitment to you as the students. The other action that I'm going to follow up on is working with some of our district leaders who have a lot of information to share about different programs and how can we centralize push-outs to communicate that via Canvas, since that's a platform that you all see. I heard a lot this evening around how, I don't know these programs are happening. How do we know it's happening at the schools? Well, Canvas was suggested as a way that we could access everybody at once. So I'm going to follow up with that too, and I just want to thank you all for the great discussion this evening.
I think we're going to call on one more staff member. And I think you got everyone's attention when he said the full ride scholarship. So I think we're going to see a lot more participation in esports after that.
Thank you. I am telling you, this has been such an exciting evening. In terms of something that really resonated with me, I was in the mental health and safety group. And I would like to echo what Sina shared, Sina from Seneca Valley High School. And that is that all of you, our student leaders, just really, really care, and you want to be a part of the solutions. So I know some of the discussions that we had related to students whom you are concerned about, and just looking at this whole issue of having a sense of belonging. And so we were able to talk about that, talk about then your role in that, talk about resources available in school, how you could bring that to the attention of others. In addition to that, there were students from magnet programs who shared how they felt they were othered, or how they have experienced hate bias. And so similarly, to be able to talk about that situation, and also to provide resources. So we had a lot of discussions right on the spot in terms of having, the person who's in charge, Stephanie in charge of social workers, and Dr. Conley in charge of the school psychologist, and Mr. Edmondson dealing with hate bias, in terms of the resources just right here to connect students. It was wonderful. You really care, and you are leaders. You make a difference, and thank you so much for sharing your voices tonight.
Thank you so much. I've never heard truer words. You guys do matter. You guys are leaders. You guys are integral to this system at MCPS. So before I finish out here, I want to invite our wonderful superintendent, Dr. McKnight, to give a few remarks as we finish out.
Okay, thank you, Sammy. So my heart is full. I was over here telling Sammy that, I started out saying how I look forward to this event every year, right, where we get to hear from you. We want you to be honest. And right now, I just had like this personal reflection. We've been talking a lot about, since COVID-19, we have to do a lot of resetting in our community about how we solve problems together. Talk and not scream. Listen to understand. And when we share problems, also share solutions. You all understand what I'm talking about? Like, there's not been a lot of that for the last few years. Tonight, there was something special about not just the fact that you gave great suggestions to follow problems, and I mean, this was it in every single group, but I want to point out the delivery. You all complimented each other and talked about the power in students supporting students. You talked about the system's intention to do the best thing for you, and you so put it in a way that made it feel like a strong, authentic partnership. And I just have to tell you that this is what stands out about leadership today and now, because that's what's needed now more than ever. And it's so awesome to see you as students leading and modeling that in the way that you have tonight. So I take much comfort in our future and us having the partnership with you to help figure out all the things that we can do to make the environment better, because you have been the perfect models in that tonight. Dr. Kimball talked about you sharing that because you care. That came across so deeply. Ms. Sharon was giving the actual suggestions that you all were giving us. I mean, I could have some in my phone too. We can't wait to get started on this. So let's continue the conversation. Sammy, I want to thank you for your leadership in pulling everybody together and modeling that clearly, because it starts with the modeling of that everyone else follows. Students, you are amazing. Thank you for that. And know that we're going to take forward all these thoughts and ideas with careful consideration and implementation along with you moving forward. I want to thank the Board of Education for, as we were sitting down and listening to our students and having that conversation, you bringing perspective and sharing history around where we've been and where we're trying to go and how we continue to do that together. So I think we're going to create a well community by being well-centered leaders, all of us in this room, based on the discussion tonight. So I am inspired. Thank you, thank you. Thank you to the staff who've been here and are part of this conversation. You've probably been in this building since 8 o'clock this morning, and it's 12, 13 hours later. But thank you so much for your commitment and participation. So I'm looking forward to the future. Thank you, thank you.
And can we give one more round of applause for all the students here today? Good job leading by example. And then one more acknowledgement and round of applause for all the staff, again, who came out here and helped us out with this. As Dr. McKnight said, we're driven through leadership. And you guys are all modeling here tonight what that looks like. I went around and I heard the suggestions you guys had. I heard, a kind of new perspective, which wasn't just, okay, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, but okay, here's an issue I've identified, here's a solution to fix it. And I'm telling you, the staff worked so hard, so diligently to implement these changes and to make MCPS better one step at a time. And these types of events where they're hearing from you helps push the needle even further and ensure that we can create even more change in MCPS. And seriously, I'm elated to be here today because this conversation inspires me. This is what keeps me going every day, is hearing fantastic students providing solutions and providing their perspective. And that's what inspired me to run for this position. And really, that's the motivation that keeps me going. So thank you all for being here, students, staff, board members, leadership. And I look forward to hosting events like this in the future and continuing our journey of fighting for change in MCPS one step at a time. So thank you so much. And I just want to say, after I finish here, remain in your seats. We have more instruction on how to leave. But yes, give yourselves one more round of applause for being here. Thank you so much.